when you step out to do the thing, most people around you think you're crazy. And especially because your idea is bigger than where you currently are in that moment. If you don't get support from your spouse, then where are you going to get the support from? On those really tough days, it's really hard. And you're like, did I make the right decision?
When we talk about men are more emotional and more sensitive than they like to let on,
Right.
is that you can think as the provider, as the tough guy, he's taller, more masculine built, all that. It's like, but to think he actually needs someone to believe in him too. You're fighting against a lot to try to build what you're building. And so when you're out fighting battles all day on behalf of our family, like you should be able to come home and have a wife that supports you and speaks life into you. Do you ever wish your spouse understood what you're really carrying right now? It's not that they don't care. It's just that they don't see it all. The pressure, the decisions, the weight of either being the one that's building the business or the one that's at home trying to keep it all together. Today, we are going to be talking about the gap between what entrepreneur husbands wish their wives knew and what the wives wish their husbands knew. I am Kristen, and I'm here with my husband, Ben. And over a decade ago, we started a construction company, got it to 6 figures, and hit a rough spot in business. And our marriage was so not healthy at the time. We actually lost the business, and we almost lost our marriage too. Fast forward a few years, we spent thousands of dollars investing in marriage conferences and getting the help that we needed to really rebuild a strong foundation in our marriage. And since then, we have built a new construction company to 7 figures, and our marriage is stronger than ever. And this is something we have lived in real time. And so this conversation is really just built around things that we wish we knew in the beginning and things that we were thinking, weights that we were carrying that we never talked to each other about. And it would have made us so much stronger to just be honest and share those things. So we are going to be real transparent in front of you today in hopes that it'll help just kind of put some words to maybe how you're feeling, open up a conversation with your spouse and see if you can relate to any of the stuff we're talking about.
Yeah, I think you putting light on any kind of situation, maybe it's not even that big of a deal, but maybe it's putting a little light on it just to get that other person's perspective can just completely change the game for your relationship and the way that why you are the way you are and why you're wired the way you are. Sometimes you don't even realize it what you're doing, and sometimes like that person doesn't even realize, because I mean these questions that we're gonna ask, we've obviously looked them over, so it's not like we're not getting blindsided here. But we
No
did
blindsided.
you did in the past, like not even knowing sometimes like on my weakness,
Yeah, it's not bad intentions.
right?
It's just we don't know to talk about these things, and men and women are different. Individual men and individual women are different, and so we don't know those things if we don't voice them. So let's begin.
Let's do it.
Do you want to go first?
You can go first.
Okay, my first one. You ready?
Yes.
Something that I think is probably common with a lot of entrepreneurial, like the wives of an entrepreneur, and speaking specifically to myself, is sometimes your risk taking scares me. And we've discussed this before, but
Yes.
I've grown over the years, but I am a naturally risk averse person.
You would teach a
So
good class on that.
I run from risk and you run at it.
I love it.
And that used to terrify me. And over the years I've grown though, and I've gotten better at it. And now I'm kind of risky
You are.
sometimes. But back in the beginning, I just even remember when you first even said, I'm going to start it was painting at the time, started small, and obviously things grew from there. But you were just like, I'm going to quit my job and I'm going to start a painting business. And I remember even that I was like, you can do that. I mean, you think about income. We think, there's sort of this false sense of security with like the stability of a corporate income. But it's like, I mean, hello, it's not even really a security anymore, how unstable the economy can be at times. But I just remember that was a big, especially if you have small children at home. And if you just take any entrepreneurs in general, right, are risk takers. That's just sort of a natural characteristic in every area of your life. And yeah, that used to terrify me.
Yeah. So as an entrepreneur, if you're not willing to take a risk, then you shouldn't be an entrepreneur. You have to be willing to go to zero and be okay with that. I'm going to risk risk the biscuit and we're gonna do it, and I'm and like risking it all, like no, because and sometimes like we are so confident that it's going to work that we could be like it could be like a weakness, if you will, as well too. So, but like we don't see it as like it's not going to work, because I look at it as, if we're not gonna willing to take the risk, then I'm gonna be doing the same thing for the next 40 years, going to the same place, making the same amount of money, maybe getting a little bump up in a raise. And like what kind of life is that? To me, like as in, like if that's what you want to do, like you do you. But like
Yeah.
for me, like that's just like a waste. And like you're never gonna get anywhere in life if you don't take any risk. So, but from the flip side, like so before, like you even really voiced that, and I even really knew that about you, like I always thought you were like trying to drag me down.
Yeah. Or
And
kill your
yeah,
dreams.
kill like, this girl's just trying to shatter my dreams, my hopes, my aspiration. This girl is trying to ruin it all. I thought you
Mm.
went to college for this entrepreneur stuff, but it's a lot different in real life
Yeah.
to do it. And sometimes like, we can map out as best, make a business plan, but like there are those steps that like you have to walk it out. And like we are faith people. We believe in faith. So like taking that step of faith. And it's interesting because like like a lot of entrepreneurs that aren't like Christian, like they say it too, like taking that like leap of faith or that step of faith, and like taking the step out there. It's the
Yeah.
same lingo, same thing. Like you just have to do it.
Yeah. Well, I think the difference is like trusting in yourself versus trusting in God. And so that piece of security, when I look back over how I've grown in that over the years, was actually pointing back to our very first marriage conference we went to after we almost lost everything. We went with like, we're at rock bottom. If this doesn't work out, we're done. What, like we were both in a place of willing to do anything to fix our marriage. And so we went just like hungry for help, and we got it. You know, like that conference was just mind blowing to us. We
Right.
flew to a different state, we invested money, got the kids childcare, stayed with grandparents, all of that. And it was a big investment and a big leap for us to go to that, but it completely changed everything. And one of the things that was so mind blowing to me was in the very first session, he was talking about the difference between men and women and their fundamental needs. And men need respect and women need love. But then there were a couple of things that go beneath that. And one of the things for women was security.
Mm,
Women need security. And so, whereas men have like the responsibility of like providing, being the provider, the women need security. And so, for me, it was like finally someone was putting words to what I was feeling, and I
oh, right.
wasn't crazy. And it wasn't just me being like, why can't I believe in him? Because it was deeper than that. You know, it's like I have an innate, like God given need for security.
Right.
And for me, it was a big um, growing process over the years of learning ultimately not even to be putting all my trust in you, but to be trusting God. And when I like my dependence on you to provide all of that, that's when things were rocky. But once I realized my dependence should actually be on God, and then his ability to provide for us through our marriage, through our family, through in like, you know, job
Hmm.
opportunities and things, that shifted a lot for me. And so like your risk, I am able to support it more because I trust that like you're hearing from God. And if you make a mistake, God can fix it. And those kinds of things like that is what changed a lot for me. But there is still sometimes because there wasn't just that one idea way back when. Like, do you know how many ideas this man has had
So I
over the
mean, I
years?
could write a book.
An entrepreneur is not just like you scratch the itch by starting that one business.
Right.
Like there's constant iteration, there's constant new ideas, there's
Yeah.
constant, I should do this, we should start this, we should go over here and do this. And
Hmm.
so it's been, I mean, a whirlwind of ideas, but it's also been really cool to see you're gifted in business. And so I have been able to trust you over the years too, as I've seen your ability and like the gifting that you have in business. So
Yeah. It's definitely, I think because we were learning it together, you felt the weight more of
yeah,
taking the risk of. It's not like I was already like running a business and then we got together. You know what I mean? So like we met. We kind of I was doing the clocking in and out at a place, and then it's like But so for me, because I know we were called to something bigger even from the beginning, right? And it's just like the only way that I saw it was to get out of the 9 to 5 or whatever the clock in clock out situation, like is to take the risk and create the business.
Yeah.
And in those slow months you're like, oh man, maybe this wasn't the right thing, but then all of a sudden boom, you hit a job for 50 grand, 100 grand, and then just a continual like 5 grand, 10 grand, and this keeps popping up, and then you're just like starting to roll, and you're just like, see, this is what I was talking, like this is what I'm seeing, and and so I, the blind side of take the risk taker is like we don't see it not working, and
Mm.
so
And I'm the planner, and I'm
yeah,
like, there's so many things that could go wrong. Contingency plans. What are our options? And I guess that speaks a lot to it, is what you said in the beginning. You were scrappy. Like, you didn't have a mentor, you didn't have someone that was coaching you or like showing you the ropes of how to do it. Like, you just went out on your own.
yeah,
And so it was a very scrappy, I'm going to build this thing. And it was like, oh,
yeah.
okay.
I mean, not recommended the way we probably did it, because there's a lot better routes to
You
take.
would have been so much fast tracked if you had
Yeah,
someone that
if I
could
had a
show you.
mentor, or
Yeah.
because I did have like my dad, but like he never was like that mentor. He just he was like, yeah, get your license, your contractor's license and all this, and it was never like let me coach you how to run and operate a business. Um, so it was, everything was just a learning curve. So we felt that curve, like,
Felt it.
but now it's easy, and now it's just like operate it just like with like looking at the back of my hand, for the construction side. So it's and then now when I have the other ideas, it's like this could work, and then say, okay, well, let's now as I'm getting older as well, I feel like, and because our relationship is a lot different, so I can talk to you about things, and we can, and then maybe, and even sometimes it is just like throwing that idea out there for you, and then just seeing where it lands.
See if my blood pressure
Yeah, and
rises.
just kind of just pass it over. Kind of like this with Legacy Shift,
Yeah.
it was an idea that I had for a bit, and you were just, this girl was not on board one bit, and then all of a sudden it was like, okay, okay, and then now, I mean, now look at this girl, she just dropping just gems left and right. Hey there, we hope you are enjoying this conversation. But hey, we had a quick question for you. Right now, currently, who is in your corner for your marriage? One thing we know about the top athletes, the top business owners, the top leaders is that they all can't do it without the support.
That's right. And when it comes to a couple in business, it's the same way. Imagine what it could be like, even if you're not in crisis. Maybe everything's going great. But imagine what it could be like to have a couple in your corner, encouraging you and making sure you guys stay aligned as you continue down your path together.
Or maybe you are in crisis mode and you have no idea where to even start. Well, we can help you with that too.
There is going to be a link in the description below. You can click that link and you can go ahead and book a discovery call with us. We would love to get to know you, hear your story, and see if we might be a good fit to help you on your path moving forward.
Let's get back into this conversation.
Another piece to that, though, is part of the aversion to the risk is we had small children in the house. And so there's that piece of like health insurance. And, I think that's a big thing for entrepreneurs, especially if you come from a corporate or like normal 9 to 5 setting,
Right.
And then step out. It's like to have something. And even now starting Legacy Shift, like we have other businesses that are helping, that like provide the income while we're getting other things started. And so there is a level of security already.
There, girl.
Yeah. But I've just heard so much about like in your 20s or when you're freshly married, like that's when you just like go all out. But it hits different when you have kids. And so
we had kids when we were 20s.
But I mean pre-kids. Pre-kids. So if you're in your 20s and you're like freshly married or you're single, I don't know why you're listening to this, but that's cool. You're getting educated in advance. But to have that extra layer of wisdom, I think that really would help a wife feel secure,
Right.
Is that there's another plan for income. Yes, follow your dreams. Yes, I want to support you, but like, do we have a plan to pay the bills? While
Okay,
this
but
is
let's
growing?
just, as we're talking about risk,
Okay.
let's just think about our daughter now. And you guys she came up with a whole new business plan. if we weren't like, excuse me, if I wasn't like that, and this go get her, let's start this, let's do this thing, and encourage her, like let's go, sky's the limit. Those dreams would be like they'd be in there because I believe it's like God given, but they would be like stifled down.
Like she wouldn't necessarily know how to think
She would know how
like
to like
that.
think that through. So our daughter is,
Wow.
she's 12 and she's got these huge ideas for growing her own business.
Baking
And
business.
so it's like it's amazing. It's like so we're just letting her like cook with it. It's like
Hmm.
we're not shutting it down. We're like letting her see other angles, different things, but we're letting her like process it out. And hey, you know what?
She's gonna kill it. Her
I
ideas
hope that
already.
she far succeeds anything that we ever create.
Yeah.
So and just like watch back and just like look at this girl cook. So literally cook. But okay. I'm gonna get into
Say
mine.
one of yours.
One of mine.
We'll go back and forth. So
So it's actually that it's
even.
interesting that you said what you said about what we learned at the conference because it goes with my first thought or thing is for me as an entrepreneur, you as my wife, understanding the weight of responsibility for providing for the family. So for so for me, when I see us, because at the time you really wanted to homeschool our kids, and this was like this is years ago, and that if you were to homeschool, that means you weren't going to be working because that's impossible for you unless you're working nights. And I'm not trying to work like 7 jobs or even 2. I mean, you know,
You have multiple
I have
income
multiple,
buckets, but
but I
yes.
like the buckets, but not trying to go clock in here and go clock in there and
Right.
go clock in there because
Yeah.
that's just I'm not
Like
doing that.
W-2 thing.
So my first initial thought as an entrepreneur is like, well, let's just create a business. Let's create an offer. Let's create something that like can generate income so that you can have the freedom. And also knowing that the bills need to get paid. So I believe it's God given for every man. Whether he responds to it or not is a completely different conversation for another episode. But um, it's it's in every single man. It's God given that he needs to take care and provide for his family and protect. So provide, protect, and take care. So it's all obviously it's all the same. We're not saying the same thing, right? But so that weight of and then it's like the man's dreams, the man's like desires too to like be something. And I think often we can get, shoved in like a box of this is what you need to do. And we never have a chance to dream or we never have a chance to like step out and do something. That is taking a risk, you know what I mean? Whether it maybe is like a wife that's a little bit more stubborn than you and just shuts it down, says, no, we're not doing that. And then just kills that dream, kills that desire, right? So then, like, now that man's stuck in like that 9 to 5 trying to provide for the family, and that weight, it just kind of sits on him. So, knowing that, like, that's like our, like, the end goal for me is making sure that, like, all of our bills are being paid for. There's food on the table. There's a house over our head, a roof on the house, a roof over our head,
Yeah.
and cars to drive, that have working heaters. Remember the first?
Yep. I remember.
We had a car. She had a car, but that heater didn't. That
That
heater
was
went
a
out,
frigid drive.
and so dropping the
Yeah.
kid. Yeah, that was just a whole such. That was years ago, and
Not my
just like
favorite.
good night. So it's like but those thoughts, like those situations, like as for me, I can speak to myself, but hopefully I speak for most men that like that's not okay, and we don't want to see like our wives or our kids like not to be able to go buy shoes, not to be able to go buy new clothes. You need to get your hair done, go get your hair done. Like it's not a not a big deal. Like 'cause, like how much it costs for girls to get their hair. I mean, I don't. I mean, my maintenance is pretty cheap, right? But like, but what's whatever.
It
Like,
costs
but like,
money, you know?
but what does it matter? Like, if we're making money and we're creating wealth, then like it doesn't matter. Like, go take care of yourself. Like, and I feel like every man, like that's their heart's desire. But whether they could do that or not is a whole different thing. So I think that weight and that responsibility of making sure like I'm supposed to be providing for you and the kids.
Yeah.
And there's people also that like, where the wife brings in income and has different things that she's cooking up too. But like it's still even with that, I still believe the man still feels like this sense of like responsibility to make sure like the household and everything's like being taken care of.
Hmm. I think at different times in our marriage, this has kind of shown itself in different ways. But back in the beginning, when it was new and we didn't have a huge savings account to fall back on, and there was a lot of money is real tight. And especially as entrepreneurs would know, if you're building something from scratch, like, feast or famine, like they say sometimes, especially in the beginning as you're trying to build something. So until income is regular, there's times when you go without stuff. And so I just remember those times when like, I mean, we had a real rough season in the beginning where we had a repo guy coming for our car, landlords looking for rent, all the bills, all the utilities are being threatened to shut off. And there was a really heavy season that was like, because I think you stepped out like in the fall.
Yeah.
And
like,
for a
yeah.
construction, like industry
For
business,
a painting industry.
heading into the winter in the Pacific Northwest, like, there wasn't a ton of work. And so it's like you stepped out in an interesting season. And so we hit a famine season like pretty quickly. And I just remember that was one of the biggest strains on our marriage and what I think was what almost broke us in that season, because you were carrying the weight of that and I didn't understand what that felt like. And so I didn't have the compassion or the knowing to come alongside and support you and be a team and try to figure stuff out. And so when you'd come home, you'd be, those jobs that you did get, you'd be out there working long hours trying to get it done so we can get paid. And then I'm the one that's getting all the mail with the pink envelopes and all the things. And you'd come in and I'm like, which one can we pay? Can we pay this? This one's going to shut off. And so like we've talked about before, like I became associated with like financial stress because that's all I would talk to you about because you weren't home often. And so it took like, and that was one of those things where like I really had to learn to lean on God. And like he was showing me that, like how about instead of greeting him with that when he comes home, like say hello rather than throwing bills in his face. And he in that season kind of gave me a compassion for you because I never thought about it like that. I'm a woman, like I carry a different weight and responsibility in the family and like the God-given order of a family. But I had never thought about what you carry. I had just been so focused on what I was carrying.
Right.
And so to finally try to put myself in your shoes of you're the one that's out there face to face with the customers, face to face with suppliers, face to face with, all those situations, having to run the card and hope it doesn't get declined while you're buying materials. And I'm just at home, managing what I was managing, but we carried a different weight in that season. And that was something that it took me a bit. But once I saw that has carried us in different seasons since then. I think that's carried me to be able to have compassion for you in the highs and lows of different business seasons and stepping out and things and different trials in business that we've had, that if you lost a client or something like that, like to think that instead of if you were ever snappy with me or like had a tone or were short or felt distant, that that like foresight, I guess, to know like, oh, he must have had a rough day at work, or maybe it's this financial thing that's weighing on. To just see that, I think that I wish I had known that earlier to support you rather than to be rather than to like pile on the burden.
Amen.
Amen. Yes. Okay. My next one.
All right, let's go.
You ready?
Yeah.
Now, I don't think this anymore, but I thought
good.
this was important to share because I thought this in the beginning was something I wish you knew was that sometimes I felt left behind by your ambition,
Okay.
which is interesting to think about when whether how supportive or not I was about you even starting the business in the first place. But yeah, I think especially once you got rolling, it was like, and this is, on both of us in that season. Then I'm home with the kids and you'd have like your supply, like a business relationship would want to take you out golfing or take you to go do these different things. And you'd be working so much and then you'd get an opportunity to go do something for fun and you would take it up on that, take them up on that, or you'd have a networking opportunity or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt like those things started to take the place of like home time. And so it felt like you were out living this life, this like glamorous
Glam.
life, if you will, while
Yes,
I was
uh-huh.
home with the
Yeah.
kids. And I think it was off balance in the beginning regardless, but that was something that I felt was left behind by your ambition a little.
Mm.
What do you think about that season?
Well, I mean, we've talked about this over the years. Um, and I think that's that same, so the same fire that the entrepreneur has to go do the thing, start the thing, is then it's like a whirlwind that follows it, right? So when that success does hit, that money starts rolling, then you're looked and perceived differently from like your vendors and customers, and so then everybody now is drawn to you. So then you're out doing things, and all of a sudden it's like, yeah, see, this is what I was talking about, and then, but me not understanding, me being excited and not understanding my role as like a husband first. I'm a husband to you first before I'm a business owner, before like whatever amount of money I make that month. Like it doesn't matter if you and I aren't good. Like and so, and because of that, we almost lost everything because it was out of order. So having um those, and then going back to rock bottom because we had a really big job that went just south, then like all those little feelings that you had, like it all just kind of came in like a flood, you know what I mean? So um
One thing I think we learned in that season, one thing I learned was you naturally go to where you feel the best. I don't
oh
know, that sounds like silly. Um, but like if you're being praised and celebrated and honored in
right.
this one atmosphere, but then at home, you're like being told to take out the trash or being, like treated in a different way or not like honored and felt special, I guess, or felt appreciated or valued, I guess is what the right word would be. Is like you naturally want to go where you feel valued. And I don't think I did a good job of valuing you or making you feel valued at home. And so when you're getting all of that praise somewhere
Mm,
else, of course, that's where you're going to want to go. And that was a really unhealthy balance in our marriage at the time because I didn't know how to do that. I would maybe think I was grateful for you working hard, but wouldn't say it. And I was just in over my head with small children and all the things I was dealing with at home
mhm.
personally. And so I wouldn't voice those things. And so I think since then I've tried to be more intentional about taking time to actually say like, hey, I see how hard you're working. Like, thank you for providing this life for us. Thank you for working so hard. You're killing it out there. I listened to that conversation and you did so great at that. And how can you do especially as like a salesman, that's not a skill I was gifted with naturally. And so when you
Mhm.
do those things, like just voice, I think these things. So making it a point to say them
Yeah.
and make sure that you feel honored in your own home and valued in your home.
Yeah, and
And
then that same flip side to that is then like now fast forward, I include you in our and the things.
mhm.
Um, Whether it's come with me into certain events or um we got, when we get the tickets given to us for games, like it's you and I going, um it,
And like company dinner, I remember
yeah.
like company Christmas dinner and things like bringing me and the kids and even just not even like big things like that, but even just smaller like texting throughout the day and sharing. I think sharing wins. We've talked about that in other episodes, like celebrating wins together, like you just cluing me in on what you're doing.
Hmm.
I know there's a different dynamic when like husband and wife are working on the same business together, but when it's more of a he's doing the business, she's at home, and it's
Hmm.
more separate, like for you to be intentional about including me in like, hey, I'm going up for this big bid,
Yeah.
like, and just bringing me along. And then when you do get it, like that was a fun little, you'd like sing this little song when you landed the job.
Little
And
jingle.
and so it's like, wait, I didn't hear the G, or I'd hear you like sing it from the office, like from around the corner. I'd hear you sing your little song that you do.
Yeah.
And it was just like, oh yay, I get to come in and like give you a kiss and like congratulate, celebrate with you. And so those little things, like obviously I didn't have a part directly in landing that job, but it's a cool thing to be able to celebrate together. And you do that because you're including me in it. And so just the unity that comes with that. You don't need to be both working on it directly, but I think your intentionality to bring me along and keep me updated on what's going on. Not that you vent to me
Mhm.
or like pour your business stress on me ever, but just
'Cause you
including
don't
me in
want
it.
that.
I don't want that's not healthy either. I mean, it's good to know when stuff's going on or if there's a challenge you're dealing with or something, but if it's not just coming home and unloading
Yeah.
all this drama on me, like that's not good. But just keeping me clued in on your world and what's going on. And so we are a team, like that's the role that you play on our team. And it's a very valuable part of our family.
Yeah, I think it's just getting things in line, getting what we're doing on the same page. And we've talked about this in other conversations, and we're going to continue to, because I personally believe like it's the greatest thing that can help you is just aligning your vision, aligning your goals, aligning what you're doing as a family, your purpose. Like, what are you doing as a family? Like, what is the purpose? What is the goal? And you can't do that if there's no I in team. So you have to, like, you're a husband and wife, you're a team. You picked her, bro.
She's yours.
She maybe she picked you. I don't know how, whatever your situation is. Um, but at the end of the day, you put a ring on it. Like, and now, and
And she's a gift.
she is a
The
gift.
Bible
And
said a
it's
man
like,
who finds a wife finds a good thing.
and it takes, and I don't know, I'm on this kick for some reason these last like couple like episodes, but like it takes both together. Because sometimes like we look at the man is, he's stern, he's emotionless, he's what, but sometimes the wife is, she crazy too. Like there is that side that sometimes she needs to like check herself, and then if she does that, then the man's checking himself. Now we're coming together as one, united with purpose. And that's the point. That's where like you can say the magic happens, because now we're united with purpose and walking this thing out. So when the winds come, when the low seasons come, like we're in it together. It's not like, oh, I did this. It's like, no, we did this. Like, so it's like when we say like we built this which now you do help me and stuff on the new business. So it's like, but it's like I include you more, and like we're in it together, So,
And that you
um,
want to. I
right,
think because even as you speak to that, it's like the nagging wife, or when you come home, like, what'd you do today? Who'd you talk to? Tell me everything. Like women just have a natural. We talk a lot and we want to know stuff. We like the details. Me telling a story versus you telling a story. Your stories are a lot shorter than mine, but there's so many details that you need to know. But I think just back to like communication. What do you oh no. What do you actually need to share with each other? But I think it's not rather than me trying to fight and pull all that out of you, like when I backed off is when you actually started wanting to share those things.
yeah. Okay, I'm gonna go to my next thought or feeling as an entrepreneur to his wife. It's not that I don't care. Now is just not a good time. And this thought process is when I have 20 customers coming at me for all different kinds of things. I got employees acting a fool. I got suppliers, trying to do demos or trying to do this or that. And then and then as an entrepreneur, thinking about another business that I'm trying to like build and do. And then trying to get in the podcast or the book that I'm trying to, and then you got something at church that like, you know, we're getting pulled on like from all different directions. And then my sweet, loving wife comes to me and wants to have this endearing conversation. And she wants my full attention. And I just in that particular moment, I just can't give it to you. And it's not good. Like you want the
Not
full
good.
attention. You want it all. And so I think there's times, and you've learned that you've done this well. Like you've learned this well, and you're walking it out well. And I feel like I've gotten better and just like shutting her down, like shutting it down, and then just
The
like,
business side or
yeah,
shutting me down?
no, not shutting you
Okay.
down, girl. Come on,
Clarify.
I was tripping. Um, and But so and having to learn that and having to voice that, that was a I feel like that's probably across the board, any entrepreneur, like anybody that's have has a business, just one business, but multiple businesses, like customers, like it's just the thing that like because obviously we want to serve our customers well. We want to do projects well. We want what we want to make sure that products out right. The packaging looks amazing. All these things that so we're like we obsess over it because that's what makes you a great business owner. That's what makes you successful. That's what takes you to the next level.
Yeah.
And so if you don't, then it's like you're not going to have a business for very long because you kind of suck at it. So when you're thinking about all these things, but then you want to come and have conversation about something that you need my full attention on, and that sometimes in that moment, not that I'm cold or like we're just maybe it's not even you coming to like wanting to have a conversation. Maybe it's like us just like hanging out, and I'm just like I'm there, but I'm not there.
Yeah.
Go ahead and elaborate. I'm sure
I've
you
had to
wanna know.
learn to recognize the signs over the years. One thing that probably complicates this is that we have a home office. And so as an entrepreneur, you don't necessarily need to be out on the job or
Yeah.
in a
Having a
home
home
base.
office and an actual office, we have, it's like
Yeah, you're kind of doing work at all
it's
times.
got
And
computers everywhere.
your brain just literally does not stop. And so, and I don't have that. I don't know how you have that capacity to handle all that you do. But at the same time, I don't like being multitasked.
That's
And so I've had to learn. I just had to learn, and not in a,
They should make a shirt. You should make it a shirt. I
yeah.
don't like to be
You're a great multitasker, but
You
like
should make
I'm
a
not on
shirt.
that
That'd be
list.
a
Like
really
I'm
good
your wife.
sweatshirt. I can see you doing that.
I'll make one later today. I'll add it to my list. But I think it's just to come from not a place of like I demand and I deserve your attention, but like kind of back to that compassion thing and just understanding where you're at. It's like you work from home a lot of the time, and for me to just it's easy because your physical body is there, and so I'll come around the corner and I'll like want to tell you a story or hey, this text I just got, or what let you know something or ask you what your plans are, whatever it is.
Right.
And I just because you're physically accessible,
Mm,
you're mentally very not accessible.
definitely not there, girl.
And so I've just had to learn to like, hey, when you get a sec,
yeah.
do you have something like, do you have a minute? And not with a tone
No,
or,
it gets me
like,
to snap out of it too.
yeah,
Like, or if I'm like, and then maybe it is like a good time to just like break, and you're like, hey, when you have a second, it's like, oh yeah,
Mhm.
what's up?
yeah.
Like then it's like it just makes me like mentally like put that aside and like focus. Or
Mhm.
sometimes I'm literally in writing an email or talking back and forth with a customer that's a little fiery or just trying to solve something with an employee,
Yeah.
and then it's like I just need to like handle this really fast while I'm like in that flow.
hmm When it comes to like, I guess guarding myself, but also guarding you, that it's just why set myself up for us to have some like flare up when like you might kind of lash, not in a, I don't mean lash out, like that sounds really aggressive,
Very
but I just
aggressive.
mean if you are in a little like tiff with someone via text message and I don't want that energy coming at me. And so, and I don't want you to have to deal with having to apologize because you said something or your tone or whatever.
My personality
So,
is already on fire.
You're already on
I'm
10
already on
at all
10.
times.
I'm ready to
Yeah.
go. So when when
Yeah.
I'm in that flow, you're not trying to, and you learn
Yeah.
that too, you know.
Yeah.
'Cause-
And then if you come in from outside, like you
Yeah.
get home from doing something out
Right.
and about, and then you come in, like I help even with the kids to kind of guard your space for a little bit, not in a weird way, but just like obviously we greet you, we say hi and everything, but if we're not like, hey, dad, come, if Lincoln's like, come play football with me right now, I tell him like, give him a few minutes, like he just walked in the door, like let's kind of give him some space to decompress and sort of, not that you ever really clock out, but I mean, at some point in the night, you do clock out though.
Yeah.
So it's like, now we're going to talk about something. And we have implemented this thing. This is a big deal. And I recommend it to literally everyone. When you do come home, I mean, this is if you have kids in the house, especially, but it's called like couch time almost, or if
Mhm.
it's office time or wherever you want to go, but that you train your kids for 10 minutes when you get
Yeah,
home.
this is
This is
good.
mom and dad time. Like we need to catch up about our day. You need to tell me stuff. I need to tell you stuff. We need to get ready for tonight, whatever the plans are. And so our kids now know. I just say, "Oh, it's couch time," and like they know that me. And for us, even we make them leave the room. Like they
Mm-hmm.
can't. Not that we're talking about necessarily private. I mean, sometimes if it's like money stuff, sometimes they don't need to hear all those details, but just that they're not even tempted to interrupt or be a distraction because we're modeling that our marriage is more important and our marriage comes first. And so when you and I have that connection, that even those 10 minutes of uninterrupted connection, I'm good. Like I'm good, at least for a bit.
Well, in those moments, our little couch time, I mean, my phones are like on the entryway, like
Multiple phones, yeah,
yeah,
are in the other room.
third,
Yeah. I just mean you're so
yeah,
accessible.
yeah.
So you've had to put these boundaries and guard your space and time. And something so practical as just literally leave the phones on silent and put them in another room because
Yeah,
this is my family time right
that's
now.
it. Simple
And
as that.
we've learned this the hard way that we have not had those boundaries in the past.
Right.
And that's when things were really unhealthy because everyone else got the best of us and our spouse didn't
Mm-hmm.
and our family didn't. And that's when things were
Yeah.
really unhealthy.
Yeah, and it's easy to get things out of whack, and then you're wondering why, like, what's going on? Why is she acting like that? Why is he acting like that? And it's just like you just need to put in a little bit of effort,
Yeah.
like 10 minutes when you get home, just to connect and touch hands for a sec,
Yeah.
and then get on with the rest of the night, and then come back together, obviously at night. But it just kind of like gets everything like refocused as the
Yeah.
day, because sometimes the day is crazy as like a business owner. There's
Mhm.
all kinds of stuff going on.
And you set your boundaries as a business owner. So, like you said, you used to get praised so much for good communication. And it's like, but at what cost? And so, like, you're in charge of building your business, like, and the business culture and what you're known for. Like, don't build
Right.
a business that's going to destroy you.
Yeah.
Don't build a business that you end up hating
Yeah.
because you've trained your clients that you're available at midnight.
Yeah.
Like, absolutely not. So, set your boundaries. It's important.
Set them
Set them.
up.
Yeah. Am I next?
Yes.
Okay, my last one.
Last one.
Sometimes,
Here we go.
not sometimes, because we've again, this is worked on a ton. But it's not just my expectations that I have to manage, but it's also our kids'
Hmm.
expectations. And so how this looks in our marriage is the life of an entrepreneur is not typical. It isn't a 9 to 5. It's not a dad's home at 5:30 every day. Or even dad's off on Saturday and Sunday every weekend. It's not necessarily like that. And
Mhm.
so making plans, I'm very much a planner and I've
Oof.
trained our children to be
Yes.
planners on accident. I thought I was doing a good thing years ago
Good
and
thing.
it's now come back to bite us a little bit. And so now we're training on flexibility and we go with the flow. And yes, it's good to have a plan, but we're also flexible and we know how to pivot and it's okay.
It's okay. It's
And
good business owner.
so
You can pivot.
yeah, back when, especially when they were little though, because I remember there'd be things like, it's fall season currently in the Pacific Northwest. And what do? You go to a pumpkin patch. You have to go to the pumpkin
You
patch.
have to.
You have to.
Yeah.
And I just remember trying to make plans for it. And then a work thing would come up. Or we didn't talk and you already had a work plan and I
Yeah.
just didn't know. And I figured you'd be free. And so I counted on this. And when they were little, it didn't really matter as much because it's not like they knew the calendar when they were really little. So I could kind of push it and it wasn't a big deal. But I had to manage, like I would be disappointed when plans changed
Mm.
way back in the day.
Mhm.
But now I've had to learn how to talk to our kids about stuff and how to make plans with our kids about stuff, what to let them know and what not to say anything until we're like about to actually leave.
So we're in the car.
Which, hello, parents, you know this anyway. If you give too much notice, it's like, when are we going? Or when are we going? How many days? How many days?
That's next year.
And so sometimes, yeah, we like don't tell them stuff too far in advance. But even just for last minute things that come up, I think the mom plays a big role in having to buffer that with the kids. And I'm the one that has to deliver the news and I'm the one that has to see the disappointment on their face. And that used to crush me. And so I had to learn a lot about what to share, what not to share.
Right.
But also for you kind of learned what was important, I guess, about what are non-negotiables, what plans can be pushed and what shouldn't be pushed. And I guess ultimately priorities, right?
Yeah. I mean, I've ruined a Christmas party here or there before.
You have done that.
Not with our immediate, but just like other
Extended family, a
because
last minute bailout.
It always feels good. But
Yeah.
I mean, like, and I'm always in the support of the guy that's out there, growing something and doing it and making it right with customer. And like, because in the end, it does reflect you. Because if you get a negative review or, um, a situation like that can happen, and then now that affects business and that affects the long term. So, but like
Mhm.
not being a slave to that either. So there's like this boundary that you have to like develop, as a business owner, and then like setting those boundaries. So like so for my construction business, I do have a separate line, and then that thing's just now sits in the office, on the weekend. Like this is currently Saturday as we're filming that, and that phone is sitting in my home office, just plugged in the charger, and I'll get it on Monday. Um, so there's like everybody can wait, and like you set your boundaries, and like you said, I love what you said about like the culture that you set, like making sure that you love it and you're gonna love it in the next like 5 to 10 years. Like creating a business that you hate, like that's done that. It's terrible.
Yeah. Your business should be serving you.
Right. Like, and especially, and like, that's what's so cool about, so it's like that there is like this illusion too that, oh, you own your business so you can do whatever you want.
So false.
So false. Yes. Cause you're like, everybody's your boss now, and you know what I mean? Until you get to that point where it's like, in the beginning, it's not like that. As you grow your business, it is like, it can be like that, unless you choose it for it not to be. But as you're starting your business, or like in the middle of it or in the thick of it, it's not like that. Like, no, I got customers calling me left and right. I got this schedule and that schedule, and like you're doing you know what I mean? Like the owner, entrepreneur, the solopreneur guy. But as you grow like a successful business, and you have employees and you have things working and happening, and it's like, and then your business operates without you being there. Now, yes, I can go golfing. We can go to Central Oregon and go hang out in the mountain. We can do this. We
Yeah.
can go to the beach. Um, and so, and like as an entrepreneur, like, and like that's the goal. And so the other side, when you're trying to plan and have the disappointment, it's like, I know, like I know, understand, but like it's not always gonna be like this. And
Yeah.
I feel like as an entrepreneur, it's not always gonna be like this. It's like the I can make a shirt too. It's not always gonna be like this. Like
We're starting a shirt business now, you guys.
we already did that. We're not
Another
doing that
one. I know.
again.
Well, it's interesting because it goes on both sides, I guess. And it comes to you understanding and recognizing the season that you're in. Because when you are in that building season, there's sacrifices you have to make as you're building something from nothing. But also for us, especially, we started that when the kids were little, and those are their most formative years. And so I think where my heart comes from with this specific one is being the mom that I know you're out trying to provide for us. I know you're out trying to do the grind that's necessary to get it to the place where it can kind of be more self-run, or there's more freedom with it.
Mhm.
But then I'm on the front lines of seeing the kids and what toll it might be taking on them. And so I think it all comes back down to communication.
Right.
But my goal was never to be a nag or to ever make you feel guilty about stuff. But I remember feeling like it was important at times to say, hey, I feel like you've been picking work a lot lately. Can we do something special with the kids? Or like if things ever started to feel like, because there's no such thing as balance, but if the rhythm didn't feel like
Mhm.
the kids were getting enough attention, or they had been disappointed a few times in a row or something,
Yeah.
like, hey, can you take Lincoln out to go do something special? Like go have a daddy son date. I'll do a mommy daughter date, like those little building those things into the rhythm. I think the mom, the one that's at home with the kids, sees that and feels that the most, obviously, because that's your whole day. That's what you're doing. You know them the best because you're
Right.
with them the most. And so you see all that and you kind of can sense that in them. And so to be able to bring that to you in a way that's constructive, and, it all comes down to delivery and how you say it and not making you feel guilty, but just like, hey, is there time can you find a time this week that
Mhm.
maybe we skip a meeting, or maybe we push back this thing, and maybe we take them out of school, or they get to stay up late one night and we go see a movie, or, just something to where they feel extra special. I think moms just are on the front lines of that, and they're the ones that have to see the disappointment. And so kind of helping to keep that in check.
Mm-hmm.
They're like the watchman of the household, it's like the manager of the household, and you can kind of see, I feel like it's just like a God-given thing for the mother to like sense when something's off and be able to speak to that. And so that's something too.
Yeah, and it does come back to communication, period. And then as you're growing in the growing season, but then remembering when you're not in that growing season and your business is successful and you're have the more freedom to take advantage of the freedom now.
Yeah.
To
Do what
go,
you said you were going to do.
yeah, like do the thing. Like
Yeah.
go, take your son golfing, go shopping, go on that vacation, like go do the thing. Because those, yeah, like always working, always being enslaved to your business, like that's not even the reason why you even started the business. I think you have to just remember like why you even started. It's to create the freedom. Well, I mean, let's get that freedom to go do the thing. So, but obviously, there's different seasons and there's ebbs and flows of everything, right? So, but it's just like, but it goes back to communicating, like you and your spouse on the same page, uh, and that will save a lot of mistakes. I got my last one. You ready for
for it.
this?
I don't know.
I'm gonna get some tears out of her now.
Tears.
Just playing. Okay. For an entrepreneur to his wife, this is a big one for me, and maybe it's because it's so. Let me break this down. To know that you still support me, and also that you believe in me.
Tears from me or tears from you?
I don't know, but maybe this will just end this with
It's
both
a
of
good
us
one.
crying.
It's a really good one.
So as a man, which we've talked about this earlier today, as a man, like we need like to feel that respect and that honor from our spouse, and we learned that in like one of the first marriage conferences that we went to, right? But as a business owner, as an entrepreneur that's doing multiple things, and people think you're so like all my entrepreneur dudes out there, like put it in the comment, like when put a little praise hands or clap back, like whatever, fireball. Just like you don't like most people around you think you're crazy. When you step out to do the thing, most people around you think you're crazy. And especially because your idea is bigger than where you currently are in that moment. Because as an entrepreneur, you have the ability to see it at the finish line. But you haven't started yet, but you can see the finish line, and it's beautiful. It's like this beautiful scene end. You're like, yes, I see it. But then you have all the naysayers around you. And so if your wife or vice versa, however it is in your house, if you don't get support from your spouse, then where are you going to get the support from? If nobody around you believes in you, and not even your own spouse believes in you, then who's going to believe in you? You have to believe in yourself. And then, yeah, but on those really tough days, it's really hard. And you're like, did I make the right decision? Did I do the right thing when you have the tough customer or the rough month and like for revenue or whatever it is? Like, did I do the right thing? And you have those seasons, and maybe me, because I'm always on 10, I can be 10 high and 10 low, and then nowhere really in between. So I'm trying to get into in between right now, but so it's like, oh man, this is dumb. I shouldn't have done it, or like, oh, just give it all up and go back to 9 to 5, and so not having anybody at home that supports you, I think is it's a big one.
It goes back to, I think, when we talk about men are more emotional and more sensitive than they like to let on.
Right.
Is that you can think as the provider, as the tough guy, he's taller, more masculine built, all that. It's like, but to think he actually needs someone to believe in him too. Because you want to play tough guy, you want to play like you got it all together. Not just you, but I mean like entrepreneur,
Right.
man in general, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Because we don't like to look weak, right? We want to look like we have it all together. And exactly what you're saying, depending on where you came from, depending on, you're fighting against a lot to try to build what you're building. And it could even be from like a relationship with your father, a relationship with friends, relationship with mentors, what a teacher might have spoken over you when you were in school. And so there's all these internal motivating factors that are driving you to like, I have to succeed, I have to succeed. And back to that pressure and the weight.
Mm-hmm.
And so your spouse should be the safest place to go to and the place that you go to get strength like that, because you are a team.
Yeah.
And so that's one of the most beautiful things I think about marriage, is that we should be there for each other when one is feeling weak or one is feeling down or needs a little boost. The other one should be there to pick them up and encourage them and cheer them on. Like, I'm your biggest fan. You're my biggest fan. You've called things out of me, and I've hopefully called things out of you in our time, in our life together, you know? And so like, we should be making each other better.
Right.
And not tearing each other down. And that's something that women can do so easily. Men can too. Words, just the power of our words to either bring life or bring death over our spouse. And I think we don't realize the power of our words and how much they stick with people and get in their heart.
Yeah. And it's all that, because, and maybe some people do have like a really good best friend or like people around them that like support them, but it's more powerful of a support when it comes from your spouse.
Yeah.
Like, it's the only words, like your words are the only ones that matter.
Well,
Like when it's in a tough like season, yeah,
Mhm.
you're doing good, or yeah, it's like it only matters if like you say I'm doing good.
Like, I look for it from you,
Yeah.
not from other people.
Right.
Well, because our spouse knows us the best and they know us the deepest and they know the things that nobody else knows. And so if someone who sees everything good, bad, and ugly about me can actually still believe in me, like, that speaks louder than anybody else that I kind of, not that we're like fake to anybody else, but just we present ourselves a certain way in public. It's just like I brush my hair before I go out of the house, but like, you see me first thing in the morning. And so there's just things, I think it just speaks to the power of marriage. Like, we are here to help each other accomplish our God-given purpose.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a strength that we each bring to the marriage, and it's our duty to bring that out in each other. I think it goes back to like stewardship. Like, God has given us an assignment as a couple. Like, we're called to something together,
Right.
individually, but also together as a unit. And so as a good steward, I should be like, you're a gift to me. I'm a gift to you. Like, our marriage, we're a gift to each other. And it would be a poor stewardship if I were to speak death over you or not help you fulfill what God's called you to ultimately. Because I'm going to stand before him one day and I'm going to have to give an account for what I did with the things he blessed me with.
Mm-hmm.
What did I do with my kids? What did I do with my husband? What did I do with the gifts and the talents? But like, with you, how did I steward my marriage? How did I steward my husband? Did I speak life? Did I help you to stand up and rise up into all that God's called you to be? Or did I not? Did I belittle you? Did I rub your mistakes in your face and keep you down?
Right.
I just think there's so much power that the spouse has. And our home should be the safest place. Like, when you talk about going out in the world, you're going out, you're grinding, you're building, you're doing all the stuff. And when you come home at night, that should be a safe place. And so if you need to be encouraged, you should find that there. Like, we should find rest in our home. We should find security in our home. We should find peace in our home, joy in our home, whatever we have need of. Like, our home should be that atmosphere. And so when you're out fighting battles all day on behalf of our family, like, you should be able to come home and have a wife that supports you and speaks life into you. And depending on how you grew up or how people were raised, there's a lot of wounds that people carry around from their childhood. And I just think it's a beautiful gift that God's given us to, as a wife, to be able to speak into those places in our husband and call them into the man of God that he's called them to be. And I don't think there's anything more powerful than that.
Hey, we hope you enjoyed this conversation. Just kind of shining some light into what entrepreneurs think and what the wife thinks of an entrepreneur. And hopefully, like, you guys can have a good conversation on, I don't know, just shining things to light. Sometimes when you just bring something to the light, it just opens your eyes and your heart, and you're like, oh, wow, I didn't even know I was doing that. Or let's talk about that. Let's hash that out, because ultimately, like, we want to see you guys be as successful as you possibly can be in this life together.